Well, well, well. Look who's back in town. Hey, yeah, it's Cook Jewishy. After a long, I don't know what you want to call it, a hiatus, a sabbatical, I don't know what you want to call it, but Passover's coming up. It's time to get your Pesach recipes ready. So we're gonna do a little something here I call Texas Bubby's brisket. I got about 15 pounds of brisket here. We're gonna do it up right. So hang on for the ride. I hope you like the brisket. All right. So when we talking about making a brisket here, we got to be talking about spices. But maybe I should back up just a minute and say, this recipe is called Texas Bubby's brisket. And you say, well, how is it Texas? What's Texas about it? What's Bubby about it? I'll tell you. It's gonna be dry rubbed, spiced, and smoked for a little bit, like a Texas style barbecue brisket. And then it's also gonna be oven braised, like a Bubby style brisket. And so that's gonna make it have that delicious, incredible flavor from the spices and the smoke. But also it's gonna be fall apart tender and just swimming in juices. Well, I'm starting to salivate already. This is so delicious. So that's why it's called Texas Bubby's brisket. It's both smoked and braised. Okay, now, before we get going, we should also probably say, a little l'chaim with Mr. Williams, because it's been a while. He ain't doing these videos in a while, and I'm glad to be here, and glad to be here with you, and here in my kitchen, enjoying the ability to do some cooking. So l'chaim. All right. Now, let's talk about the Texas part of this, barbecue brisket here. So, you gotta have a lot of spices. If you have a favorite store-bought, spice rub mix that you like, that's fine. But there's really nothing magic to making your own spice rub. A lot of it is about chili powder. So, down here, I got a whole bunch of different chili powders. I got chipotle. I got smoked paprika. I got regular paprika. I got ancho chili. I got a couple of store-made mixes, a couple different store brands. Frontier Co-op's chili powder. Organics chili powder. I also got over here, I got some Hungarian style chili that's called Urfa. Alright, so I got a lot of different chili powders here. I'm going to use most of these. The point is, you got to just taste around the chili powder you like. The level of the heat, the flavor that the particular powders provide. And some of these, store-bought ones that are called, quote-unquote chili powder, that's actually a mix. That's got some chili in it, yeah, but it's also got a bunch of other spices. So, every one of these, you just got to play around with it. Pour a little bit out on your hand. Like you can take your smoked paprika and say, well, how smoky is it? How good does that taste? Well, just put a little bit on your hand. Taste it. I threw it on my shirt. I threw a little in my mouth. Yep, tastes a little smoky. Tastes like paprika too. It tastes real good. I'm going to be using that. Because even though I'm going to smoke it, nothing wrong with getting a little extra help from some smoked paprika too. Get that extra smoky flavor. Because I ain't going to smoke it forever. I'm just smoking it for a little, a couple hours is all. I'm going to be smoking it. Alright, some other spices. I'd like to start with whole cumin seed and whole coriander seed, and also whole black pepper. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with those in a minute. I also got some ground white pepper, I got some salt, I got some white sugar, I got some brown sugar. So, you got a whole lot of spices, whole big mess of spices, going to make this just have a flavor explosion in your mouth. Alright, so let's move on to actually get to making the spice mix. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to toast the whole spices. So I'm going to do about 4 teaspoons of whole black peppercorns. And then I'm going to get my cumin seed over here. And I'm going to do about 4.5 teaspoons of cumin seed, or that's 1.5 tablespoons. I got to open up a new jar here. Alright, so, getting about 1.5 tablespoons of cumin seed in here. Now, this is going to make enough spice mix for about 15 pounds of brisket. you're just doing a 5-pounder, you know, you can cut the recipe in 3, or you know, you can make all this amount and save some. It'll keep for a good month, and it tastes good on lots of barbecue. You know, you want to do a smoked pork shoulder, something like that. Oh, did I say pork? This is cooked Jewishly, sorry. Yeah, it's going to taste real good. It's going to be delicious. All right, the other seed we got is the coriander seed. I'm going to do a tablespoon of coriander seed. I'm going to turn my flame on pretty high. This cast iron pan is going to take a little while to heat up. And so while it's heating up, I'm just going to mix the spices around every now and then. But the thing you want to, you know, really do, make sure on this, turn your exhaust fan on. All right, you can probably hear my exhaust fans on now. And the reason you want to do that is because eventually, when these are done, they're going to start to just give off little wisps of smoke. You do not want to breathe that in, okay? I've done it before, it makes you cough. You fill up your house with that smoke, everybody in your house be coughing. You know, when you're making delicious food, you don't want to make everybody cough. Why would you do that? So put your exhaust fan on. I'm going to, you know, wait for this to heat up. I'm going to mix it around a little bit. All right, the pan's heating up. I'm just going to make sure that I'm, you know, kind of stirring this around a little bit. You might wonder, why am I toasting the spices? You don't got to do this. You know, you can use pre-ground spices for these varieties, but I think it really gives that extra boost of flavor when you toast them just before you're gonna, you know, be using them. So, I'm gonna just toast these right here on this nice dry cast iron skillet. Cast iron's great for this. And if I start to see, you know, any little wisps of smoke, I'm gonna turn it off and take it off the heat immediately. Okay, because then I know it's definitely done. Just before that happens, you're going to start to see the cumin seeds and maybe the coriander seeds too. You're going to see them start to get darker brown. Alright? You don't want to burn any of them. That's why you keep stirring. You got to be patient with this. This is labor of love. You know? You got to pay attention. You can't be distracted doing something else, or you're going to burn it. And then you're going to send a whole bunch of, you know, smoke in your house, and everybody's going to be coughing. So you don't want to do that. Why would you do that? You know, it's my sugar. So here we go. Oh, I'm starting to see smoke. I'm going to take it off over here, moving it to the side a little bit there. Turn the flame off. It's done, because the cast iron pan is real hot now. So the cast iron pan over here, you know, it's still really hot. And some of the cumin seeds are just starting to smoke. So now it's off the heat. I'm just going to keep on stirring it around a little bit, get a little more toasting action. Alright, so that didn't take real long. Some of my cumin seeds is looking pretty dark brown now, but nothing looks burnt, and that's what I want. I don't want anything burnt. It's a funny thing, because you want smoky flavor, but that comes from the wood. You don't want smoke and burnt from your spices. It's totally different. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to put the toasted spices in a little bowl here to cool down a little bit, because they're real hot. You know, who knows, but it was hot enough to smoke, so you can better believe it's hot. It's hot. Alright. Get them all. You gotta catch them all. It's like Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. Alright. I'm gonna leave the spices in there in that little bowl, let them cool down a bit, and then I'll grind them up in a mortar and pestle. Okay, so while we're waiting for the whole seed spices to cool down a little bit, start mixing up the rest of the spices. So I'm going to start with, the salt and the sugar. The salt and the sugar is as important for the chemistry of the whole operation as anything else. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of white sugar in a mason jar. Get yourself a mason jar with a good tight fitting lid. You're going to be glad that you did. It's going to keep your spice mix nice and, nice and fresh. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of nice dark brown sugar there. And I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of kosher salt. No, not teaspoons, tablespoons. Yeah. 1 tablespoon for every 5 pounds of meat. Alright, so now we got the salt and the sugar in there. What else goes in there? Well, we got some Mexican oregano that we got to put in. And I'm going to do about I'm going to do a fat tablespoon of Mexican oregano. There we go. Nice generous rounded tablespoon of that. And now most of the rest, besides the whole seed spices that I got to grind up, most of the rest is chili. And so this is where, you get to decide the character of your spice rub is with the chili. Alright? I guess with the oregano too, that has a real distinct flavor. But, I got about, 6 or 7 different varieties of chili over here. And I'm probably going to use a little bit of all. I happen to really like this Hungarian Urfa chili, so I'm going to throw in a tablespoon of that. Alright. Now, my mother-in-law is going to be eating some of this, so, I'm not going to go hog wild with the chipotle chili, because chipotle is pretty spicy. I happen to love it, though. But, since, I got company coming, got to eat it and not be, not want it too spicy, I'll just do about a teaspoon of the chipotle. Give a little bit of that chipotle flavor without overpowering it with heat. What else do I got here? Smoked paprika. I'm going to use a lot of paprika. If you look at a lot of barbecue rub recipes, they put a lot of paprika in. So I'm going to use probably close to a quarter cup of this stuff. Alright, I got a quarter cup of smoked paprika there. What other kinds of chili I got over here? I got some ancho chili. Now, I know because I tasted it that it ain't too hot, but it is good chili flavor. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of this ancho chili business. Alright. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you, look how beautiful this is starting to look over here. This is like a piece of art right here. It's beautiful. And it's the best kind of art because you get to eat it. You're going to be eating all this. Yes, you are. Alright, I may cover my bases here, but, look what else I got here. I got some white pepper. I'm going to put some white pepper in this. I'm going to do a tablespoon of that. Alright, white pepper coming at you. I'm going to do a fat tablespoon of that. Now I just got to, I got to grind up the seeds now and put those in. Okay, so I put my cumin seed, coriander seed, black pepper in my mortar, and I'm just going to start grinding it up there. And when you start doing this, you might, if you've never done it before, you might say, is that really going to work? Yes, it's going to work. You got to be patient. It's a labor of love, okay? You got to be patient. But eventually, if you keep doing this, it's going to work. Don't get all aggressive on it because you're going to make it spill out the sides. But it's going to work. Just a minute or two, you're going to have a powder. So, a good minute or two of work there. It's getting pretty well pulverized. But, if you're happy with it, looks small enough to you, you stop. You want it even finer, you keep going. Alright, I'm pretty happy with it now, so, I'm just going to add this spice mixture to the rest. And then we get to admire the beautiful artwork that we create. Beautiful. Look at that. So it's almost a pint of spices, sugar, and salt. That's a thing of beauty right there. I'm going to cap it up. So you cap that up. You can shake it and mix it up. And you can also just keep it, for a little while. In case, you ain't ready to make your brisket yet. Or maybe you made a big batch and you want to keep some around, for now and then, 2-3 weeks from now. It'll still be pretty good. It's going to taste good. Look at that beautifulness. Oh, that's just amazing. Gorgeous. Okay, that's our spice mix. Alright, Cook Jewishy's back here with you. Now, I'm being quiet with my voice because everybody's asleep, but not me. I'm up here late at night. I'm rubbing my meat. Don't get any ideas. I'm talking about the brisket. because you've got to rub this brisket with the spices and let it sit overnight. So that's what I'm about to do. So I got my brisket. I got 3 of these, you know. I got 15 pounds weight. And I'm gonna shake the spices on, pat them a little bit. I already patted the meat dry with some paper towels, so you know it ain't all wet and all that. Just gonna rub them spices in there. Enjoy a little bit of, you know, some Evan Williams 1783. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. A lot of recipes will tell you, you know, you gotta wrap this up in plastic wrap, but I'm trying to cut down on my use of plastic, so I'm wrapping it up in parchment. I'm gonna seal it up in a good airtight, you know, container, and put it in the fridge overnight. So here we go. You got that spice mix that we made. Just gonna start sprinkling that on there. I said the amount that I made was for 15 pounds. I'm just going to push that right in there. Just, you got to lightly pat the meat. And if you don't like the spice so much, well, I don't know why you'd be making barbecue, but hey, I like the spice. I want a good covering on the whole thing. All right, I'm going to turn it over. You see that nice fat cap on this side. You know, this is a flat cut brisket. There's 2 cuts. There's the point cut and there's flat cut. And most of the grocery stores around here where I live, you either get a whole brisket or you get the flat cut. I don't see the point cut that much. This is the flat cut. Take it over there. Rub it all around, get the sides, you know, get into little cracks and crannies. I like to cover every square inch with the spices. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to repeat this process with the other 2 briskets that I got. it's tomorrow. So now it's time to start smoking a brisket. I got 4 cups of wood chips right here in my Pyrex, and I'm soaking it in water. I'm going to soak half the wood chips for about 7-8 minutes and the other half for a full 15. Alright, so it's been about 7 minutes. I got the 4 cups of wood chips soaking. I'm going to take half of them out of my Pyrex. I'm going to wrap them up in tin foil. And there's some of you, if you've done this before, what you realize I'm doing here is I'm getting ready to smoke the meat here with these wood chips, but I don't have a smoker. I just got a gas grill. And this is a technique that, a lot of people have written about various places online for basically, turning your gas grill into a smoker when you want to smoke the meat. So, take about half the wood chips out. Yeah, that's about 2 cups left in there. Make it into a nice little rectangle on a piece of tin foil here. And make sure we don't poke through the bottom. Fold it over. And that's our first little smoke packet. Now, it's good that there's a gap right there, because that's going to let the smoke escape. And I'm going to cut a couple of more little gaps here in the tin foil with a knife to make sure the smoke can escape. Now we look at this, make sure there's no holes in the bottom, because we don't want it to catch on fire. We don't want the fire touching the wood. So I'll let the other wood chips go about another 8 minutes, and then we'll wrap them up too. So the way it's going to work on my grill, and my grill's a little old. It's a little bit rusted out. Sorry, but hey, this is real life. This ain't no real cooking show. This is just me cooking at home. So the way it's going to work on my grill, I'm going to put my smoke packets over here on this side, and on that side the flame is going to stay on the whole time, down low. And then the meat's going to go where you see the grates is still on there. And so that way the meat's not over direct heat, but it's going to be indirect heat. It's going to be nice low heat, and it's going to be lots of smoke in there. Give it that nice smoky flavor that you think of, that you associate with Texas style barbecue. So that's how I'm going to set this up. And again, I didn't invent this. You can read about this technique lots of places online. But just showing you what it looks like on a real grill. I know it's a little dirty, but hey, is your kitchen always clean every time you start cooking? Yeah, so that's how it goes here. We cooking for real. I'm going to eat this stuff. I ain't just making it, so I can make a video. I'm going to eat it. So it's going to be delicious no matter what. So now the other thing we doing is we letting the meat come up to temperature a little bit here. So I took the meat out of the fridge, and I unwrapped it from the parchment, and now I got it just sitting here on the kitchen countertop. It's going to sit here for about an hour before it goes on the grill. So I'm going to turning on and heating up of the grill to make sure that it's the right temperature with the timing and letting this warm up for about 1 hour on the counter here. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes, so I turned the flames on my grill here. I got my smoke packets over there on the left. For now I got all the burners on high, and in 15 minutes I'm going to turn all the burners except for the far left one off, and that way that's going to stay on. And I've done this before, so I know what it takes to maintain a nice temperature. My grill between about 280 and 320 degrees. That's where I'm going to try to hold it. And yeah, the smoke will start rolling out of the smoke packets, and we'll be in business here. And hopefully we'll get about 2 hours worth of smoke coming out of them packets, and after that it'll be time for the oven. It's a long process. How much time we got in this process already? Well, I made the spice mix, and then I had to rub it on the meat, put the meat in the fridge overnight, sealed up real tight. So it's already a multi-day project. We still got about 6 hours to go, all told. I think that's what it's going to take. So we're gonna let this warm up about 15 minutes, and then we'll be back. All right, so now the grill's been on 15 minutes. I can smell that the wood chips are starting to smoke a little bit. So it's time to put the meat on. When you put the meat into your smoker, into your oven, you put it with the fat cap facing up. And the reason you do that is because when the fat starts to render, you want the rendering juices to go down into the meat. Okay? So that's what we're going to do here. We'll turn all the other burners off. Leave this burner over here on the low. Put the meat on fat cap side up. Oh, it already smells so good. It already smells so good. That smells so good. This is, you know, this is one of the great pleasures and great luxuries of life right here. Smoked beef brisket, you know. It ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. It's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. All right. You can see, you may be able to see, that there's little bits of smoke rolling out. It's always hard to see the smoke on camera. There's little bits of smoke and steam coming out right now. And we're just going to let that go. I'm going to keep on checking my temperature of the space in there. I've verified that the thermometer gauge that's on my grill is actually pretty accurate, which is pretty good considering my grill's pretty old. And I'm just going to, again, try to hold it around, you know, between 280 degrees and 320 degrees. And hopefully get about a good 2 hours worth of smoke out of them smoke chips. Now, you know, I got my grill at about the temperature I want here. But, you know, depending upon your grill and how fussy it is, and even depending upon, you know, the weather conditions, you may find that, you know, keeping the temperature regulated on regular old gas grill that ain't meant to be a smoker is, you know, it's a little bit of fussy work, but hey, it's a labor of love, you know. When you're sitting around smoking a brisket, I mean, what's really more important than that brisket anyway, right? So, you know, I'm just going to keep a careful watch on it and try to keep that temperature nice and regulated there. You may also notice, you know, like, what is the rock and the tin foil in this picture? Well, I'll show you. One of the things I do, I like to try to trap as much heat, as much smoke as possible. And, you know, a gas grill's got a lot of points of exit, so I'm sure the wrapping up and covering the cracks with tin foil is not manufacturer recommended. So, you know, don't try this at home, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that's one of the things I do because, you know, I'm a sugar. Now, I hope you can see, if you look carefully in the field of view, the wisps of smoke that is rising out of my grill. That is just a thing of beauty. It's meditative. I could just sit here and stare at that smoke all day, because I know that that is the sign of deliciousness happening in there with those brisket cuts. Starting to salivate already. Again. Well, not much to do now, but, you know, kick back with some Evan Williams and enjoy watching the smoke. I told you I could just watch this all day. Maybe you don't want to watch it all day. I could watch this all day. It's beautiful. Now, you may find sometimes, I've done this a bunch of times, you may find sometimes you ain't getting much smoke coming out. Maybe you don't see any. Turn your flames up to high for a little bit, you know, till you start seeing a little bit of smoke, then turn it back down low. Just the flames that are right under the wood packets. To get them smoking. Now, if you do it too much, though, you're going to set them on fire, and they're going to burn out real quick. So it's a delicate balance. It's a little bit fussy. It's a labor of love. That's how this goes. So as you may be able to see now, there's no more smoke coming out of the grill. So the wood chips has expired, and it's time now to go from the Texas style to the Bubby style. What we're going to do is we're going to put the briskets into some baking dishes. We're going to put those in the oven Yeah, they're about 300 or 325, and basically the meat's gonna start to braise. So we're going from barbecue land to pot roast land, and it's gonna be beautiful because we're gonna start getting all them juices rendering. We're gonna be saving them because they're gonna be sitting there. It's gonna be braising in its own juices. So that's what's happening next. Look at that gorgeousness. Oh my goodness. Oh, things of beauty right there. This is beautiful. That one will fit in there. That's going in there, and I'm going to go get one more dish. That's how we do it. They're going in the oven at 325. Now, if this sight don't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will. But that's just beautiful. Oh, take a look at that gorgeousness happening in there. After about a little while in the oven, I decided they should be covered up in foil. I got a temperature probe in there. I'm gonna cook it till it's well done. So I got a temperature probe in the fattest part of the biggest brisket till it's gonna be about 190 degrees. And then it's gonna be ready for the next step. Because believe me, it still ain't done. Alright, the meat hit 180 degrees in the oven there, so now it's time for the reveal.
Are you serving it?
Yeah, we serving it. We're gonna serve it, you're gonna eat it.
Let's taste it. Let's make sure it's worth it, otherwise you can't.
Oh, look at that gorgeous sight. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Oh.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to slice it. Because it ain't done yet. We gotta slice it, but it ain't ready to eat yet. Because then they've got to do more, because it's a labor of love. Okay. Demonstrating you see how the grain of the meat goes this way, so you gotta slice it that way. That's how you do it. It's beautiful. But see, it's not fall apart tender yet. This is how you will get it at a lot of barbecue joints I've been to all over the country. They serve it right like this after the smoking. But that's not a Bubby brisket. Bubby brisket got to be sliced and then cooked again. It's going to be fall apart tender. You're going to love it. You're going to want a good sharp knife for this so you can make beautiful cuts. It's going to look beautiful on your Passover, your Passover dinner. When you get to enjoy the dinner and your Seder, you're going to love it. So this is what you want to do. You see, I took the brisket was cooking in a pan this size. You take it out, slice it up, you put it in a pan this size so it's smaller. Pack it in nice and tight, pour all the juice on. Now it's ready to bake a second time. You're gonna bake it probably 2 hours. The second time it's gonna be fall apart tender. Cover it up tight with tin foil. Then you're gonna have Bubby's brisket.
How's it smell? Very good. Yeah, warm. Good night, Bubby. Good night, baby. Good night, Dad.
Good night.
Good night, John boy.
Sleep well, Dolly. There's 2 briskets all cut up, wedged in to this one pan after being sliced. I took the juice from the 2 pans, put it in my fat separator, and now you just put it back on. Any little bits that are left on the cutting board or in the other pans, scrape them up. You don't want to lose nothing. It's all deliciousness. Got to let a little bit of the fat go in there. Getting rid of most of it, but the brisket's still fat side up in my pan here, so when I bake it the second time and more the fat renders, there'll be more fat that'll dribble on down through. So now it's ready to just be covered up tight and baked the second time. At least an hour, maybe 2 hours till it's, you know, fall apart tender. You just want to make sure it don't get dry. So, you know, keep it in there at maybe 300, maybe 325.